Okay, today I thought we'd take a look at gear robots, robots with gears normally in the chest display, and rather than taking them over to the glass display case, countertop, whatever you want to call it, to with the robots, I thought we'd just walk around and I'll try to stick batteries in them and do them right here. We'll see how that goes. Anyway, here we have a mighty robot, and the thing about the mighty robot is he's got all these gears in his head, and they all turn with colored flashing lights, and of course it's bump and go. These gears on both sides. This is an early 1960s type toy. This particular piece isn't a very good example because this was given to me by a friend, but it's definitely a repaint, and normally I think they have the plastic cans, so this may be in a save case by somebody, not by me, by repainting and maybe taking some radical robot arm parts or something. Now, one of the first robots I had as a child was this gear robot, and the only thing that's not original on this gear robot is this switch on the top. There was a switch there. I should just say this plastic cap. This particular example I found at a flea market, and since everything was there except for the switch on the top, and I remembered having one as a kid, I decided I better get that. One of my favorite things about this particular toy as a kid, well, it had two things. One is that switch on top of his head allows you to run the robot on one battery if you want at half speed, or you can turn it up to full speed. See if it says stop, slow, and quick. But the other thing that really attracted my attention as a kid is it has 3 sequential lights, and I needed to get the toy so I could tear it open to find out how the heck they did that. So there's your slow speed. Trying to hold it without jamming it up. So you can see it's a normal walking robot. So if I could only find one battery, I could still play with my toy. But if I could find 2 batteries, then of course it could go full speed. One battery, 2 batteries, and no batteries. One of my favorite robots. Very smooth running. Gotta love all those colorful gears spinning, but the 3 sequential lights is really special. They did sort of a repro of it. I think it was Metal House or something like that. But it really isn't anything the same. I mean, they didn't do the 2-speed head thing, it's just on or off. And they didn't do the 3 sequential lights. There's just 2 lights, and basically just a wiper. When the leg mechanism moves forward, it shorts on one light and turns it on. And so, not impressed with these, but of course, being a robot collector, that doesn't matter. You gotta buy them, right? At least I had to. But it is a good runner. Nice and smooth. So you can see you just have the 2 sequential lights, which are obviously just a couple of contacts that bump into the leg movement. But you do have all those colorful gears turning. They sold this particular robot in a gold color also, which there's no point powering up because it's exactly the same. But I will bring it out here so you can see it. Same robot in a nice gold color. Made in Japan, so that tells you that you're probably looking at a Metal House. Let's see what it says on their trademark. RM, made in Japan. Okay, now let's move, we're going to move up to this upper shelf up here. And we're going to go to this Directional Robot. And this is a really cool 1960s robot because you have all these see-through gears. You have 2 different directional lights that flash on and off. You have a color spinning light up in the head. And of course, being an all-tin robot makes it very, very cool. These are all, so far these are all running on 2 D cells. And you've got the bow tie switch here in the front. The top dome is a green and red light spinning around. If we turn the lights off in here, you'd see it a lot better. But got all those moving gears, and then you've got the 2 directional lights. And of course, if I hold them back far enough, you can see the swinging arms and legs. Again, a very smooth, smooth running robot. Isn't it funny how these old robots that are 40, 50, and even 60 years old run better than the new ones? Or not funny, depending on how you want to look at it. And now let's see. Let's stay in this upper shelf up here, because there's a bunch of them up here. And kind of hard for me to see what's going on in the viewfinder. Here we have a vintage gear robot that's wind up. It would have the sparking flint inside. A nice litho, made in Japan. The key wind part of it doesn't come off. I'm not going to wind it up much, because you can see that it is a walking robot. The gear is spinning. There is a flint up there, which I don't particularly want to wear out. This one has been reproduced, and we'll look at the repros here in a minute. I'll have to think of where they're at, but they're here. Here's a cool battery-operated gear robot made in Japan. Again, we're talking 1960s. It's got the plastic legs, arms. The body part is metal. You got your colorful gears, and you can see inside to see the actual motor gears that control it. It is one of those plastic battery door cases where the hinge is just molded out of the same piece of plastic. And what that means is the more times you open and close it, the more likely you are to have that snap and break off on you. And I'm just trying to sneak it open just enough to get the batteries in so I don't move that hinge any more than necessary. This one runs on 2 C cells, like that. And there's a little switch right here in the back. You got a flashing light in the head. Got the moving gears. Of course, walking. Get those batteries out of there. And right next to it we have a wind-up version. You can see right here it's the same body and legs and gear layout, but this particular version has the wind-up key right here in the shoulder. Trying to remember where the on-off switch is, if it had one. I feel so stupid. There we go. And this one still has a flint in it. Still trying to spark. I don't want to wind it up any more than that. And right here we have another gear robot. This one has a wired remote. I know you probably can't see much while I'm manhandling all this stuff here. This one goes on 2 D-cell batteries, which I'm trying to load into the remote right now. It is easier when you can set stuff down on that counter, isn't it? Yes, it is. Okay. So you have the 1 button on the remote. Very smooth running. Got a light in the head and a light in the gear section. Let's see if I can hold it so you can see everything. Not so easy trying to stay in camera and hold everything. So you can see you've got your normal walking legs with the ratchet wheels and the great gears turning, everything on the remote. What we're going to go look at next is another little gear robot that's battery operated, this time all 10, two C cells. Again, you're talking 1960s. This time even the door is metal. And looks like they want one in this direction and one in this direction. You can actually see the motor gears turning, the chest gears. Got a nice blinking light that's visible through the translucent parts. You've got swinging arms and walking legs. A lot of functions for a very small tin robot. On-off switches right below the battery box. Come on, batteries. Okay. Let's see if we have any more in this cabinet. Not on that shelf, not on this shelf. We have down here now we covered the see-through Shepherd in one of my earlier videos with see-through robots, so we don't need to power that one up again. But here we have two more. This one, and its box is right here. It's very nice chromed plastic, made in Japan. The box has both English and Japanese on it, and its spring wind-up is on the side. I think this particular one came out in the 70s, if I remember right. This one was, I bought mint new in box, so it probably was a 1970s because it's also got so much plastic going on. This one, right here, here's its box. It's a little bit different. Gear robot, and again it's got both English and Japanese on it. And let's check the back. Yeah, SH, made in Japan. So it's just a color variation of the one you just saw. Walking robot with moving gears and sparking flint. Kind of unwind it a little so it doesn't keep walking on the shelf. Okay, sit there, be nice. So I think that's it for this cabinet. Let's mosey on over this way. Here we have a couple of the larger gear robots. The one on the left is a wheeler gear, and the one on the right is just a gear, but they're really quite large, quite huge. Let's get this so I can see what's going on in the viewfinder. I gotta be way back here just to get the whole thing in frame. Got your plastic legs and arms, all these turning gears, lights. It's a metal body, metal head, and two D cells. It's hard to find these minty where an arm or a leg hasn't been snapped off because they're so big that it was easy for the kids to leverage them and bust them. So let's see. There we go. There's all the gears. You got a flashing light in the eyes. Got the swinging arms and legs in it. A walking robot. Got those big clown feet. Never really cared for the feet. The rest of the robot's cool. The clicking part is cool. So let's get those batteries out. And can we get wheelie gear out? So move Tweaky. And wheelie gear does have his mint box sitting back there. I guess I can try to get that out. I just have to move this gear robot again. Let's get you out of the way. And start with this giant box, because it is a big box. So now you can see some of the functions it has written on there. End flap. I believe this side is the same as the other side. Top and front. Very clean box. Get back in there and get up here, bot. So let's take a look on this one. Has got a jumbo chromed antenna, which does nothing other than look cool and get in the way. It is on a rubber retainer, so you could extend this antenna all the way up, because right now, as you can see, it's pushed almost all the way down. And this particular one has the roving eyes, as the box mentioned. The eyes tip up and down as if he's looking up and down. This black rubber belt in here, of course, is turned pretty much solid because this is such an old robot. In order to replace that belt, you'd have to open the toy up, and I'm not going to open the mint toy up to replace that belt, unless it had disintegrated and was laying in there in pieces. Then it might jam other things up, so I would. So unfortunately, you're not going to see the big wheels turn. You will see the little gear and the gear pulley that drives the belt. But because that belt has solidified right around that pulley, you're not going to see the big wheels spin, only the gears. But here's the roving eyes. See, look down and up. Got a blinking light on top of the head as well. And of course, you've got the moving arms, walking legs. And a person could get in there to replace the belt, but you can see you got all these little metal tabs on the body, everywhere. You'd have to bend all of these tabs, and not even to do it, you'd have to take this earpiece off, so you'd have to bend those. If one of those broke, then it's all of a sudden no longer minty. So for a solidified rubber belt, I'd rather leave it looking displayed as minty as possible. Sit there, please. Guess I could have stopped his feet in a better position so he'd stand a little better, but I think he's going to be okay. We're going to put Tweaky here in front of him anyway. Okay. I think that's it for this cabinet. I've got some others in the other part of the building. I think while we're here, there were some of those repros I told you about. Let's stop right about here and let's look up. Because as I recall, it's basically these guys. Here's a nice chromed one. You can see it's a wind-up. So these are all more recent. This is a really nice looking robot in chrome though, isn't it? Being all tin and everything. So there's a chrome one. Here's a nice silver gray one. There's a slightly different silver one. At least I hope it's different. Oh yeah, the ear caps on this one are black and the ear caps on that one are red. So, yeah, stupid little things like that. Collectors like me go crazy for. Here's a black one that looks a lot like the vintage one that I showed you. It's not quite the same, but it's close. And a gold one. Like I said, these are all wind up. And they have the sparking flint, the moving legs for walking. Really like that chrome one. That looks sharp. I'd almost buy it again. Okay, so we did the repros. We did this cabinet over here. I think I've got a few more I wanted to show you. That covers off, so that means there's something in there. Okay, let's stop back here. And I think it's this little guy here. You can see this is another 60s wind-up. Got your switch there. Your wind-up key in the shoulder. I don't know how much I want to wind him up, because he still has a working flint. But so you can see it's a walking robot, rotating gears, sparking action. And there was a see-through one down here, but I've covered that before in an earlier video. It's a see-through wind-up one. You can see all the gears moving. You actually can take it apart. Those are some blue tools in the instruction manual that come with it for the kid to take it apart. It's a clawfoot walker wind-up. So we don't need to cover that one again. Let's go this way. I think I might have just one more. I think so. And I don't really have a lot of room to put the camera. So what we're going to look at is the mechanic robot. And what's special about well, there's a lot of things special about mechanic robot, but what's special about this mechanic robot is this is factory made with a different head and different arms than most of the mechanic robots, which normally have that cool head and those non-cool arms. But I'm going to try to, let's see, where should I set the camera? If I set the camera here and kind of aim it like that, maybe. I'm going to take a couple of D cells. So what's special about this is besides the spinning gears in the chest, and there's a color effect where lights chase around, and it's also a rotomatic. So it's walking, body spinning, gear twisting. It's got a lot of functions. So obviously now we're in walking mode. And now we're in rotomatic mode. And there's that cool chest light effect. We've got chasing lights, spinning gears, rotomatic, and walking action. And I'll stop and I'll get the box for a minute and let you take a look at that. But I haven't ever seen this variation before, and it was sold to me by a toy dealer claiming it was factory made that way because it was mint in the box. What's it say here? Here's your end flap, stop and go, rotates, blinking gears, space noise. First made in Japan. Very cool. Very cool. Someday I'll add the one with the normal head on it as well, because I like translucent things, and it has that translucent amber head, and that would just be fun to have to go with it. Okay. Did I hit everything? Did I cover everything I wanted to cover? In the past, I'd already covered this guy who's translucent, in the transparent, translucent, whatever I called it, see-through robot ones. But he's got just a ton of gears that are all moving inside there. Of course, all kinds of these little kits have gears you can see, and the capsula things that you can build. Here we go. Of course, you can see those gears. There's like the gear, whatever that's called, gear ticks, that you can build different large robots like this thing we're looking at right there. And all the gears move as the thing walks and moves. So I think I've covered the bulk of the gear robots I had in mind. I'm sure there's others, but I was trying to squeeze as many in as possible in as short amount of time as possible. So we'll talk to you later.